Okay, hi everybody. We're going to call this episode Elizabeth Live in the Wild. I have been sick as all heck for like a week. It's either the flu or COVID or Ebola, or I don't even like my best friend's bird has chlamydia. So, I mean, anything is possible. But with this recent flip flop from KDP, I don't want anyone to panic. So, I wanted to show you how to fix this if you end up in the same boat that I ended up in this morning. First of all, to reassure you, even if your book has what is now considered, I guess, an unallowable font. So in my case, it's Lucida and all of Lucida's sisters and cousins, of which there are like 9. So Lucida Sans, Lucida, for me, it's Lucida Sans. But again, there are multiple versions of Lucida. KDP is apparently no longer accepting that as a font, even if it's embedded in the file. I don't know if it's a licensing issue. I don't know what it is. It doesn't matter to me what it is. But if your manuscript uses that font and it's already been uploaded and it's selling or it's available for sale, you're not impacted. It's fine. It will continue to do its thing. If, however, you need to re-upload your manuscript as a self-published or an indie author for any reason, maybe you found a typo or you wanted to add something to your disclaimer or some such thing, even if you just change, like add a period or add a comma and try to re-upload it, KDP will probably give you a rejection that says your font is no longer, this font is no longer allowed. And so you'll need to replace these fonts before we'll take your manuscript. So now you're sitting there like, oh my God, what? It depends. There are a lot of different tools that people use to format their manuscripts. A lot of self-publishing authors format their manuscripts themselves and or have access to the file once it's been formatted by someone else so that they can make changes on an ongoing basis. If you're in that boat and you want to know how to fix this yourself, that's what this video is all about. So I do not do my formatting in InDesign. That is not my forte. I don't think it'll ever will be. I use Microsoft Word to do my formatting. So I'm going to share my screen with you so that you can see what the heck I'm doing. Okay. So this is, by the way, if you are a parent or a person in general, because there was a book that preceded this book called Just Do Nothing. It's for everybody. This one happens to be for parents, and it's by an author I work with, Joanna Hardis, who's been a licensed therapist for over 30 years and is absolutely incredible. You're going to want this book. But this is where we found out that we had an issue because there was something that this book has been out for many, many months. I want to say like 6 months, let's say, no issues whatsoever. But there was a very small thing that she felt strongly needed to be added to it. And so we went through and we added that last night. And when I went to re-upload today, I got this message that not from Ingram Spark, not from Draft to Digital, although that was just the ebook, so it doesn't matter, but from KDP saying we won't accept this file anymore because Lucida Sans. So here's how this works. If you go into your manuscript, and again, I'm in Microsoft Word, this is the manuscript, and you're like, where the heck is Lucida Sans? The best way to find that out is to you're on the home screen. I hope you can see this, but you're on the home screen, and then you are going to click on this styles pane. So it's going to open this up in the right-hand side. And over here, you can see all of the styles for all of the stuff, all of the fonts in your layout. And the best way to do this is to go over and to click on each individual. This is how I did it. You can, when you hover on this, for the A subhead, you can see that the font is Amaranth. Fine. That's fine. That's an allowed one. I didn't use either of these two, but we can go to this font. We can hover on it and we can see that it's Amaranth. So, okay, what we're looking for is the Lucida Sans. Now, I've already changed this, so we're not going to see it. But what I know is that this back matter heading was Lucida Sans. And what I also know, and this was disturbing because it took me a lot of time, was that my chapter titles were Lucida Sans. So what I needed to do was change all this, but it's not as simple as just doing that because you're going to end up with formatting issues. When a font size changes by even a millimeter, it can throw everything off, which is exactly what happened with this book. So I'm going to change this back actually, because I've already made the change. So I'm going to change it back and then not save it so that you can see what happens and how to make sure that you handle this in the right way. Okay. So I've changed this back. So if we hover on chapter title and chapter title 2, which was something else I created for, I'll show you in a minute, we can see that the font that's assigned to that is Lucida Sans. Now, where chapter title shows up for me, I know, or I should say for this book, is right here. It's this subtitle, which is where I created this secondary chapter title so that I could have this. I kind of created a new style for this. What happens when you go through and you start changing things back is, well, let me show you what's going to happen. So you would go, in order to change this to Arial is what I'm going to do, because Arial is a very comparable font to Lucida Sans. And you can use ChatGPT or Google and just say, for whatever font has been disallowed, what is a font that's extremely similar to this, that's also sans serif or serif, that can be swapped out without it being very apparent to the eye. So if I go into chapter 2, what you'll do is you'll click on this arrow and you'll click modify style. And here where it says Lucida Sans, you'll switch that. In my case, I'm going to switch it all to Arial. And then you'll want to make sure that these two are checked. So this automatically update is going to automatically update every other instance in the manuscript where it's formatted as this chapter title 2. So when you do that, now it's Arial, but as you can see, now it's flipped from being all on one line to being on 2 lines. And I don't like, this is called a widow, where one word is on its own line, and it's not something I love. So what I would do in this instance, there are a couple things you could do. You could spacebar this over until you have everything on 2 lines. I still want it on 1 line. So what I would do is I would highlight all this and force this to 11.5, which will take it all to 1 line. The eye will never notice that this is 11.5, and in another section it's 12, which is the standard is at. So the key is this: you're going to want to scroll through the whole document and make absolutely sure you're going to want to check all of your styles over here that you know that you've used, and make sure that none of the rest of them is Lucida Sans or Lucida or whatever the disallowed font is. And then you'll go through, and again, what you have to realize is that because you've made that minor change, there are likely going to be other little domino effects from that point forward where lines are moved that shouldn't be moved. So here's an example where when this font changed, when you change this from Lucida Sans and then it goes to Arial, now we've got this weird space here. So that's something where you want to go through and either make it all, what I'm going to do in this case is this. But you want to go through and check all of that, because now that this is on 2 lines, all of this gets pushed down. And so you might have instances where, for example, it pushed this line down. So you're going to need to come and move that up 1. Or you can tell on this page that there's an extra space up here. So now we have to move this back up. And you just have to take it 1 page at a time. It's tedious as all get out. Like, it's absurd. But get yourself some coffee, get some ice cream, get whatever you need to get. No judgment here. Just like Meta makes changes all the time, Amazon makes changes with a good level of frequency. Most of them are not the end of the world. They might upset things for a hot second, but they're not the end of the world. And so as long as you know how to do this, you can either hire it out if you need to, or if you have the Microsoft Word or the InDesign, if you're familiar with InDesign, you know how to work it. If you have those versions of your formatted files and you're making changes yourself and then uploading them and it's not working, this could be why. So another thing that changed in this book is that these, and you can see what heading it is. So if you highlight a word and then you scroll over on the formatting side or on the style side and look at which one is highlighted. So it's this mental fitness skill is highlighted. So that's Lucida. So now I know that every section that starts with that is going to be Lucida, which is not good. So we'll click modify style and we'll change all of the Lucidas to Arial and we'll click OK. And now it's Arial and it frankly doesn't really look any different. So I know that the exercises were all that way, but because even though it doesn't look significantly different, it can be a little bit different, like by 0.5 millimeter, which can push other things down or pull them up. So you want to go through the rest of the manuscript and make sure. So for example, the skills, that was Lucida. Now, as you can see up here, it's Arial. There's another section that says for reference or for reflection, sorry. Let me try to find one of those for you. So this section here, anything with exercise, as you can see over on the styles pane, the mental fitness skill is highlighted. If you can see it, it's right there, but it's in blue. So I know that that was originally Lucida. Now it's Arial because I've changed the formatting through the whole document. And then what you have to do is go ahead and save and re-export it as a PDF and re-upload it to KDP. And if you're still getting the same error message, in all likelihood, you've got a hiding font in there somewhere. Somewhere in your manuscript, something is still an unallowable font. And it could be as simple as, God help you, like this space, not that space, but like this space right here could somehow, some way be formatted as a bad font, or you could have one punctuation mark, a period, or a comma that's the wrong punctuation mark. So it can be tedious, but it's not unfixable. It's not anything to completely panic about. You just got to get in there and curse a few times like I did. And the author who I did this for, and it's had the exact same 3 words come out of our mouth when I saw it happen and when I told her what had happened. So that's normal. That's fine. But if you have any other questions about it, let me know. Again, these things happen with some level of frequency. So as a self-published or an indie author, I encourage you to just adopt the mantra like, okay, and figure out how to figure it out. Many thanks to Joanna Hardis for letting me use this manuscript to show you guys how to do this. If you are a parent or you're not a parent and you do not have a copy yet of Just Do Nothing for Parents or Just Do Nothing, a paradoxical guide to getting out of your way, I feel confident promising that her approach will change your life. Okay, onward.